Welcome to the Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, 9 o'clock, we are here to help you be as inspired and productive and efficient and effective as you can be as a data-driven mortgage advisor. So today we have an incredible special guest. We've had Jonathan many a times, and he's special. Like, I always get fired up. I'll do his bio and bring him on stage in just a minute. Just want to welcome my co-host, Todd. What's up, my brother?
I am so fired up to be here today and really kick off. I want to hear Jonathan's official bio, and then I want to give my personal why of how I think you all can benefit from the time that we're going to spend over the next hour. But before I do that, of course, we've got our other co-host, none other than Deborah Bird. What's up, Deborah?
What's up, everybody? Good morning. I'm excited for this call too, because I know every time I see Jonathan, it's a little bit more of accountability to level up. So I also want to just say thank you, Jonathan, for the posts that you put on social. I always look forward to them. They're inspirational. They give you a little kick in the butt. And so if you guys aren't following Jonathan, make sure you are. And I'm excited to unwrap this call.
Well, let me do this, just because I know we have still new loan officers coming into the business, still a record number of new customers becoming a mortgage coach, becoming trust engine. So I want to read his bio, and then Todd and I will both kind of give personal bios, and then we'll get after it. So Jonathan is an award-winning fitness expert, best-selling author, 28-time finisher of the Boston Marathon. 27 of those times he's run for Dana-Farber Institute, raised a lot of money for cancer. 12-time Ironman. You know, the fact that he's done the Ironman 12 times and finished the Boston Marathon as many times as he has, I don't know if anybody has ever done that, Jonathan. That'll be a question in a minute. He's also the founder and CEO of Breakthrough Health, which he founded in 2004, and he holds 2 patents in personalized interval training. Jonathan is a peak performance coach for, athletes, CEOs. He coaches both Todd and I and a number of other leaders in the mortgage space. Some of the largest companies in the US he's coaching. In addition, Jonathan guides leadership teams and companies in obtaining peak performance through keynote speaking. So I want to make sure everyone heard all that, because what he's accomplished is pretty special, and how he's helping leaders is special. So Todd, why don't you share your intro, and then we'll bring Jonathan on stage.
Well, no, and I love all that history, right? I mean, that just speaks so much in volumes. But, you heard the term peak performance over and over again, and that's the title of the call, Obsessed with Peak Performance. And that's what I love about Jonathan. All the times that I talk to Jonathan, I'm super blessed to have him as my coach and get to talk to him on a frequent basis. And he's the energy he brings is the energy he brings. And it always is a reminder to me that if I'm to be at my peak performance, that my energy matters, right? That my attitude matters, the voice choice I choose matters. And so I would just encourage y'all to just turn off the noise today, stay focused in, and really, really pay attention to what Jonathan has to say, because I think right now in this market, it's more important than ever. I've talked to a lot of you who are struggling, and oftentimes what you're struggling with is what's up here. And that's what Jonathan is going to talk about, really how to reach that peak performance state. So I'm just super, super excited, Jonathan, to have you walk us through what you're going to walk us through today.
All right. Awesome. Well, I'm fired up to be on. Thank you for the kind words. Deborah, I think I'm going to owe these guys money on the side, right, with that setup. So let me just drop something really important right out of the gate for all of you, which is peak performance is a decision that we then actualize through our habits. And I know it's not this deep thought, but think about it. Peak performance, personally and professionally, how you want to show up, your energy, your vibe, how you lead, all of that is a decision. We have to decide that that's who we want to be. Then we have to actualize it through our habits. So don't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to listen to this call with this coach, and then I'm going to start doing all this stuff. And at some point I'm going to go, all right, nice, I got it. Don't do that. Decide right now that you're going to be in a peak performance state. And then do what you need to do to actualize the state. It's not the grand act. Yeah, ideally you're doing workouts, but it can be a glass of water. It can be walking in place while you listen to the call today. The little things add up. But to attain peak performance, we have to decide that is who you're going to be. not just on, Friday, the 26th of January. It's who you want to be, period, because that's where all the fun's happening. When you're in a peak performance state, you feel awesome. I haven't worked out today. The reason I haven't worked out today is I'm running 18 miles tomorrow. The Boston Marathon's 11 weeks from Monday. So you think, oh no, you should work out. You get the call. I am in an optimized state all the time because I pay the fees in time, energy, focus, and follow through. You'll hear me talk about that today. This is a coaching session, by the way. We're not just hanging out, coaching you right now. So for an hour, I'm grabbing the podium with the amazing co-hosts, and we're going to walk you through how to attain peak performance. As Dave mentioned, I coach, or he didn't mention this specifically, I coach 5 out of the top 30 originators in the US, including Sean Panosian. I get your space. I get the pressure. I also get the tremendous opportunity. I don't know what the numbers are. Half the people are gone or whatever, maybe a third of them. How beautiful is that from a competitive environment standpoint? The fact that you are still in the game means you are not going to quit. Some days you feel like quitting. That's fine. You can have a little pity party for 5 minutes. Then we got to get back to work. We got to get back to the water, the nutrients, the positive content, fending off news, not vibing with negative, whiny, disempowering mortgage professionals that want to complain about the rates and everything else. You become who you hang out with. It's one of the oldest principles in personal professional development. That's why I love being on the call. I get to hang out with Todd and Deborah and Dave for 60 minutes. How cool is that? And then with all these other rock stars from the Trust Engine community that are stepping up, raising their hands, saying, I want in. Peak performance is a decision. And you were at the start of this year, right? Where I love this time of year because it's a time of renewal. 2023 was not a blast for you guys, obviously. But guess what? You survived it. And I know I say this every time I'm on. I'm going to say it again right now. Don't forget you survived the tough times record. You're undefeated. All the times, personally and professionally, you've gotten knocked around. You figured out a way to get up. You are going to do it again, which means you are going to stay undefeated, which means you're a warrior, which means you are doing it. You're not theorizing you can do it. You're doing it. And as your peak performance coach today, I'm just going to nudge you to say, you know what? We need to level up. We need to level up for our family. We need to level up for our spouse or your partner or your kids, whoever you're hanging out with. You need to level up for your team, for your clients, your real estate professional partners, because every person on this planet has an opportunity to level up. But we have to do the work to earn that next level. Dave, Todd, Deborah, you guys want to jump in on any of that?
So I want to jump in, just also a little bit of framing for the conversation. My mantra for 2024 is obsessed with impact. And I got that mantra because I interviewed Jeremy Forcier in December, and he said, publicly, and it's a great interview. It's called The Separation Season with Jeremy Forcier. It's been watched almost 2,000 times. And he said, my 2 words this year are obsessed and impact. And I'm going to steal that, that's mine. And then over the next 2 weeks, I kind of said, well, it's not going to be just 2 words. It's going to be a mantra, obsessed with impact. And I'm going to be telling myself that. And so I started telling myself that, and I had 2 big epiphanies. The first one was that this is not my theme of the year. This is the theme of my career, and there would be no mortgage coach if I was not obsessed with impact when I started this business. So for any new loan officer listening to this, the more obsessed you become with impact and value for consumers, that was my superpower. And I, turned it into my advice makes a difference. That was a strategy to create impact. But then I had another epiphany, which was, you know what? All the most badass people I've ever interviewed and all of the, top 10 videos of every year. And I'd be like, oh, that person's obsessed with impact. That person's obsessed with impact. Like that was the common, the 2 common themes now that every, elite person I've ever spoken to is they're obsessed with impact, and they have strategies that they execute on consistently. Consistency, like those 2, that obsession, and then that consistency around best practices, good habits. That's what they all had in common. So with that said, I was, Johnson's my coach, and I was telling him, this. And he literally said, Dave, I think I got more value from this coaching session than you. Remember, bro? And I'm like, I thought he was pandering to me, like, okay, bro, thanks, man. And he's like, I'm stealing it. And so, and here we are. I think this is the first time you've spoken on a public stage about, obsessed with peak performance. Now, I tell everybody that story, to frame the call, but I also tell everybody that story. It's the power of masterminding. Like I heard, because I have an open mind and I'm a growth-minded person, I heard Jeremy, I'm stealing that. Jonathan, I heard that. I'm stealing that. And now there's going to be a ripple effect of people that, and again, you got to put your ... obsessed with ... Like, and my hope is, Jonathan, I can't wait to just let you unpack the next 45 minutes, but I want everybody to come from this call. And I would love to see people, as you get clear on it, in chat. And if you're watching the video, what's your ... obsessed with ... that connects at the heart. And if it connects at the heart, it makes you more valuable to the people you serve. So please, as we go, I hope to see some obsessed with ... comments from everybody. Back to you, Jonathan.
Awesome. Deborah, do you want to jump in on anything before we get cranking?
Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind was, I think just from the conversations I have, a lot of people say they want peak performance, but then when you ask them, are you operating at peak performance? There's this big gap. So I was wondering, and you may get to this later in the call, but is there a pattern or theme of what you see as like the biggest roadblock from those who say, I want this, but I'm not living it? Like, why is there that execution gap? And what, maybe it's they need the coach, the accountability, but what's that big block for people?
I think it's two things. It's an awesome question, Deborah. So number one, the most important decision of our lives, and I talk about this every time I'm on with you guys, but it's super important. The most important decision of our lives happens every morning. It's our voice choice. We choose our positive voice or we choose our negative voice. It's the exact same thing. I coach professional athletes. I coach 3 of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Exact same language, exact same strategy. You've got to nail that decision every morning because it's going to dictate our focus, which then leads to our thoughts, which then lead to our actions. I've talked about that before. It's the game within the game. Whether you're an athlete, rockstar mortgage advisor, same deal. You got to win that game within the game. Voice choice leads to focus. Focus leads to your thoughts. Your thoughts then lead to your actions. A lot of people have trouble this time of year because they're like, New Year's resolution. Dave, I'll meet you at the gym. We're going to do the workouts. Like, okay, I'll see it. But they don't nail that front part. So then after a little time, their negative voices at the podium going, well, we're not dropping 2 pounds a week. Why wouldn't it? And they get talked out of it or they get talked down by their negative voice. So it's a 2-part answer, Deborah. Number one is you got to nail the voice choice. Number 2 is you've got to stop letting feelings have a vote. Some of you are being too soft and don't be like, well, I don't like that. Oh, I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm your peak performance coach today. I'm coaching you, right? This is coaching. You got to stop letting feelings have a vote sometimes. I'm not talking about if you're sick, right? If you're sick, I'm not like, go. No, that's not my deal either. But generally, if you don't feel like it, you got to do it anyway. Last night, I call it my 300s workouts. I do 300 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, 300 back extensions, 4 sets of 75. I did those and I ran 6 miles. Then I came back, grabbed a shower, grabbed some nutrients, and crushed the evening with my amazing family. Did I want to do it? No. I want to hang out with my beautiful wife and chill at the end of a workday. But feelings out, I'm in. By the way, I'm not telling you got to go do these push-ups or you should go for a run. No, do your own deal. I've been doing this. I dropped 44 pounds 29 years ago. That's my thing that I do to stay in my own peak performance state. But we've got to figure out what we need to do. And then we've got to make sure positive voice at the podium, remove the feelings and get to work. Because here's the cool thing. After a couple of weeks, the negative voice starts becoming a mouse and your positive voice is the lion. This sounds super nerdy, but stay with me, you guys. People that are cranking, like Dave, Deborah, Todd, Shant, right? Positive voice is like loud, hear it. You can hear it as clear as day. And the negative voice is this little mouse. I wasn't sitting in my office yesterday going like, I don't know if I want to do the push-ups. I don't know if I'm going to go for a run. The little mouse is like, we want to go hang out with Karen. I go, yeah, thanks for the input. I'm going to put my stuff on and nail my stuff right now and get out of here. It's there. And what happens is over time, you make that transition. Anyone who's struggling personally or professionally, it's because their negative voice is the lion and their positive voice is the mouse. And they're being guided. Remember, you're your own coach, every one of you guys. I'm just your assistant coach today. You're your head coach. Like the people I'm blessed to serve, or the rock star athletes, rock star executives like Dave, they're their own head coach. I'm not their head coach. Everyone's their own head coach. So the question is, who are you being coached by? That might be your takeaway from today. So if you're being coached by your negative voice, then not surprisingly, it's a little bumpy. You're not good enough. You're not strong enough. You're not fit enough. You don't look good in your jeans, or blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, can I lecture you again about the numbers for 23? I'd love to lecture you for the 43rd time in the last 6 months. No, you cannot. But if your negative voice is at the podium, this is what's happening in our mind. And we wonder why we're having call reluctance, or we're not crushing our speaking engagement, or you're not on Zoom bringing it. It's very difficult if you're being coached by the wrong coach. Dave, Deborah, you guys want to jump in on that?
I know I'm guilty of that. It's something that I work on every day. I have a very loud, critical voice some days, especially when I'm tired or if I'm hungry. So I have noticed if I don't get a good night's rest, it is a little bit more challenging for that, inner cheerleader to come out, and that positive voice to be the focus. So it's especially harder those days. So I've learned it's sometimes starts the evening before. What am I eating? Did I get a good night's rest? Did I put the phone down? So I would say all of those other factors help with starting the morning off right as well.
Love that. I really love the comments, everyone. Zach said, I'm obsessed with getting 1% better every day. Zach, thank you for sharing, and what a great obsession. Paul, obsessed with value. Kyle, I'm obsessed with voice choice. That'll serve you well. I mean, that is, I'm loving this. I'm loving how y'all are making it personal and just expanding the conversation. So again, folks, please participate. What are you obsessed with? Put it in chat. And if you're used to coming to these and not participating, like, hey, I watch social media, like, let's make this the mastermind where we get a lot of participation. And also feedback, give us a reaction. What do you think so far of the conversation? You feel like you're in the right spot on Friday? We got 51 people on here, and looks like people are digging it. So back to you, Jonathan.
Awesome. So I'm going to run a little further with Deborah's question. By the way, we are going to get to the key talking points today, which are dialing in your don't do list for 2024. What I like to tell people is your success this year is going to be more tied to what you stop doing than what you start doing. Super simple concept, but life altering. Your success in 2024 is going to be more tied to what you stop doing than what you start doing. So your don't do list. And then how does that position you to capitalize on what I call pivotal moments? So that's really what we're going to get to. It will not be at the 51-minute mark, I promise. But I just want to share, again, going a little further on Deborah's question. So let me simplify one tool that every one of you guys can use to get into a peak performance state and to hold yourself accountable to a peak performance state. And the tool is called your peak game score. It's a very simple concept. So don't be like, where's the good stuff? Where's he going to cover the good stuff? If you said to me, what's the most important tool that you provide to professional athletes, college athletes, rock star executives, doesn't matter what playing field they're on, what's the most important tool? Initially, I would say voice choice. Then I would say peak game score. So here's how it works. If you've heard it before, write it again, stay present. Don't start checking. I'm going to check my email. I've heard him talk about that before. Here's the deal with coaching. It's not, have I heard it? It's not that I know it. It's, am I doing it? You can pass that filter through any coach that you've given the option to guide you on, personally or professionally. It's not that I know it. It's not if I heard it. It's, am I doing it? Here's the peak game score. It's super simple. It's third grade simple. I do not track the results, the scoring, whatever, touchdowns, any of that. I kid you not, for any of the pro athletes or college athletes or high school athletes, that I coach. I have never looked up their results. Why? That's not my seat on the bus. My seat on the bus is world-class mindset, optimization of habits, and accountability. So I have them all text me. I got a bunch of texts this morning, their peak game score. Again, third grade simple. It's just 4 points. It's 4 key things that will allow you to be in a peak performance state. And you either get a point or you get a 0. There's not like a 0.80, I kind of did it. No, you either get the point or you don't. Here's the 4 things. Again, you can apply this to anything. You can apply this to your team and most importantly, yourself on a daily basis. So maybe you have your peak game score each day. Here's the 4 things. Number 1, world-class mindset. It's just as simple as, is your positive voice at the podium? And you either get the one or you don't. You can't be like, yeah, I was a little edgy with my team for like an hour, hour and a half meeting. We were going over the numbers. They weren't doing the stuff. And I started ripping into, okay, well, your negative voice is at the podium. Then you don't get your point. We're not trying to be perfect, by the way. We're focusing on progress. So my athletes sometimes, I don't like the term my athletes, the athletes I'm blessed to serve will send me a score of 3. I'm not like, text them back. What does that mean, Dave? No, it just, we're going to talk through it on our next coaching call where you missed your point. The first one is world-class mindset. Number 2, world-class effort. World-class effort. It's, are you in it? Are you checking ESPN? Are you messing around on Facebook? Like, I'm not saying you can't be human, but if you're going to be in a peak performance state, you got to pay the fees. You got to be focused. This is work. This is not hangout time. We're working.
And keep in mind, it is Championship Sunday. So like, ESPN's a little more valuable right now during the playoff seasons than normal.
Nobody cares. The Cowboys aren't in.
Yeah, but the 49ers are. So the 49ers are. So check your ESPN. Keep up on the game.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry about that.
I don't mean drive-bys. I don't mean quick little things. I'm talking, you're reading different things.
No Niners.
So world-class effort. Okay, that's number 2. The athletes I coach, that has a look to it, right? I'm blessed. I coached 3 of the University of Kentucky basketball players. One of their 5th-year seniors, was 51 seconds left in the Missouri game like 2.5 weeks ago. They were up by 14 points. And this guy, Trey Mitchell, dives for the ball like his life depended on it. 51 seconds left. You're up by 14 points. You're going to win. World-class effort. Third key point, world-class teammate. Are you a world-class teammate? Do you have your team's back? If someone's struggling and you're picking up their vibe, you're going to reach out to them on the side. Check in how they're doing. Really show them you're listening and you care and you see them and you hear them. Being a world-class athlete, it's easy to see on a sports field or for NBA guys I'm blessed to coach or these college guys. You can see it. You can watch how they operate on the. Are you giving kind of clammy high fives to your teammates or is there eye contact? Are you exchanging energy, particularly when someone's in a tough state? World-class teammate. And then fourth criteria.
Real quick before 4. So I also want to push everyone in this community that being a world-class teammate means that you're helping the people around you. Like if you're a producing branch manager, you truly, like most producing branch managers, if they're not the number 1 loan officer in the area, I mean, they're top producers. Their top producers became managers, but they're helping their team get better. They're leading by example with MortgageCoach. We talk a lot about, like, if you're a MortgageCoach brown belt, to become a black belt, yeah, you need to do 300 TCAs, but you need to teach and help other people. Like, you can't be a black belt in martial arts without 1, having a mastery, and 2, starting to teach, get so good so you can teach. So I just want to push everyone in this community that being a world-class teammate is beyond just, turning in great loans and showing respect with your team. It's about becoming a teacher and an elevator of others. And, obviously, you're on the MortgageCoach channel. So little special push. Let's help everybody become a master black belt mortgage coach that you're around. So love number 3. Can't wait to hear what number 4 is.
Real quick on number 3 for the team. We can't give away what we don't have. Ever. So if you're not energized, you're not positive, you're not on fire, if you're not understanding how to use Trust Engine to completely outvalue your competitors, it's very difficult to guide your team in doing that, right? If you're like, I've been using it most of the time, it's like, no, you want to get locked in. So then one, you can outvalue your competitors, which makes sense in any business, right? But then you can show your team. But if you're like, it's Friday, I had 3 beers last night, I was watching the Celtics play, I didn't do a workout this morning, you're not like, let me meet with Lisa at 2 to walk her through how Trust Engine is such a game changer. You're kind of like, I'm just trying to get through my emails, I just want to get to the weekend. Everything counts. You don't need to be Tony Robbins, but what you do need to do is be your best self and pay the fees when the lights are off. That way we can bring it when we're trying to be a world-class teammate, or we're trying to make sure we maintain a world-class mindset or world-class effort. We've got to have a certain oomph to us. You can't give away what you don't have. I've never sat in my office, I kid you not, I've been coaching for 20 years. I have never once had to sit there and be like, okay, here we go. I got the Trust Engine call today, or okay, I'm going to talk to this quarterback, whatever. No, pay the fees. I'm not telling you guys to be me. You're not me. Be you. But be you at your best. You can bring it, especially when a teammate needs it. And that's the time to lean in. And it's very easy to do that. It's called I care. I see you. I hear you. That's like one of the biggest struggles as human. We feel like everyone's doing that, like drive by. They're not really paying attention. Are they paying attention? No, you got to lean in, particularly during these pivotal moments where a team member is banged up. Can you show that you care? Can you rally them? And again, back to the basketball, if a teammate's having a bumpy go and the coach pulls them out, you can do the clammy high five. Okay, don't worry about it. But you could go down and tap him and be like, hey, you're good. Grab some Gatorade. He's going to put you back in. We need you. That is a very different team member experience with eye contact, where what you're really doing is exchanging energy. And don't miss this, coaching wise. You know what you're doing? Transferring belief. When people are banged up, me, you, any of you guys, right? We have a diminished level of self-belief. And it's very difficult in the middle of the chaos to crank your own self-belief up. So what we deserve to do is transfer it to teammates so they can take our belief in them, use it at that moment to then elevate. Is this making sense?
Making lots of sense. So world-class mindset, world-class effort, world-class teammate, and number 4 is world-class
character.
Say that again.
Character, Dave. And I'll elaborate, because it can sound like, what does that mean? How do you represent yourself, your family, your team, your organization? If you're a person of faith, God. If not, you can put in universe or blow off that last part. But if we watched you on film, would you be proud of how you showed up? Would your mom be proud of how you showed up? It has a certain look to it. I think I've shared this on here before, but my NBA guys, they're like these huge jack dudes, right? Like these are very large human beings. They come down, right? Someone throws them a pass. They run under the hoop. They plow over the camera lady, and then the play's going on. So they can't stop at that moment. But if you are going to get your point on number 4, at the next whistle, you will run down there as quick as you can, get an eye contact with her or him, and look at them and ask them if they're okay. That's someone's mom or dad. They're a human being. You go, well, that's part of the NBA. It doesn't matter. It's a human being. They know better. You're no better than them. They know better than you. Go show that. That's what it looks like to have world-class character. You operate in a way where you make yourself, your family, your team, your organization, if you're a person of faith, God, if not, you can use universe, proud. When you get your 4 points every day, you get your peak game score, right, to a 4. So you nail mindset, effort, teamwork, character, everything else takes care of itself. I know it sounds completely oversimplified. This is how I coach. I don't look up any of the stats. I just need to see 4s. Dave, Deborah, you want to jump in any of that?
No, I love these 4 focuses. I think they would make everyone better. And I do believe if everyone took some time to journal and to rate themselves, score themselves, you'd be better. So I'm loving this meeting. I've had a number of people say how much they appreciate the call, how much value they're getting. Continue to have people. I'm obsessed being a beneficial part of my agent's business. by providing them useful tools like MortgageCoach. Special shout out for that one. I'm obsessed with being better for everyone around me. I love that, Ashley. You know, go 49ers. Yes, Ashley, you're my people. Deborah's rooting for the Lions. By the way, who can't root for the Lions? I mean, you got to love the coach. You got to love the culture. You got to love the character. You know,
And his passion is what I love.
Yeah. And his, by the way, his character, like everyone, you just see that guy talk, you know, and you're like, that is a man of character. Like there's a uniqueness, there's a quality of him. There are just so many tangible and intangible things that make him a leader that you want to run through walls for. Like who doesn't want to play on that guy's team? Who doesn't want their kids to play on that guy's team? You know, and the thing can be said when you think of the greatest coaches and the greatest leaders, they all share that character that you want to be around that person. So love that last one.
Awesome.
I'm going to use this with my kids. I love this. It makes it simple. And my kids I've got 2 in middle school and 2 still in elementary school. And, you know, mindset, effort, like these things for any other parents listening, like this is a daily struggle with kids. And so this makes it really easy to implement, not only for us and our teams, but, you know, for your spouse and for your children. And then the other thing I was going to add to that is, you know, talking about the character, and I love watching sports documentaries because I fall in love with the players' stories. And what makes me fall in love with them is a lot of the hard times that they have to overcome. And so, Jonathan, you mentioned doesn't mean perfect, but it means progress. And I just want to put a little exclamation point on that, because I feel like for us, you know, we do social media for a lot of the loan officers that are listening, and sometimes they put all this pressure on themselves to appear perfect when they go on social, or that their opinion of things have to be perfect. And sometimes the way people are attracted to you is showing some of those, you know, moments of character when you did struggle or when it was a tough market. And so don't forget to be a human online and give yourself permission and grace to be in love with progress. Perfect.
That's better than anything I've covered. That one is no, I'm serious. That one's profound. Don't forget that. Only our negative voice thinks we should be perfect. And one key point to remember for all of you guys, you will never please your negative voice. She or he is an unpleasable critic. Not a great sentence, but you get what I mean. You can spend your whole life. There's people like, the house will never be big enough. You'll never be skinny enough or fit enough or whatever. Numbers are never going to be right. So you can blow that off and go back to positive voice, which is what Deborah was just talking about. Like, let's celebrate our progress. Some of you don't realize what you've shown your family. You go, what do you mean by that? What you've shown your family. It's easy when where we're going on vacation, honey. Yeah, book the thing. Okay, it's all good. Oh, yeah, the check account's good. All the bills are paid. It's very difficult when you get knocked around. When you're like taking punches. Doesn't mean you're being perfect, but you are showing your family what it looks like to persevere. You can't reveal character attributes in calm waters. You just can't do it. That's why I love sports. Like Kentucky got smoked on Tuesday night. They lost by like 18 points, non-ranked team. I wasn't sitting in the sunroom watching my guys catch a beating with their teammates, and I was like, huge inflection point coming. Adversity expedites growth. But you have to do what Deborah just coached you on, which is we have to look at progress, not perfection. We're just going to make sure the thing's going like this, right? I think it was Zach, maybe, I apologize if not, said I'm obsessed with getting 1% better. Awesome. That's what we're talking about. Just get 1% better. Next glass of water, walking in place. Maybe it's a little mind shifts, right? Here's a simple one, but a big one. I get to make the calls. I get to serve the families. I don't have to. I get to work out. I don't have to. I get to run the Boston Marathon every year. I don't have to. That's a mind shift. But again, positive voice at the podium. We good? You want to move towards the 2 key things, or you guys want to add anything to that?
I'd say let's roll, unless I would push the audience to ask questions because, we would love to integrate you more into this conversation. We are a little north of halftime, so we are now in the third quarter. Little pulse check from the audience. How do you like the call? Give us a little reaction. Little halftime, cheer. It looks like people are digging it, Jonathan.
I have one question that just popped in my head. That's okay.
Yeah.
Is there any good that can come from the negative voice? In your opinion? I mean, is there a purpose for it other than?
Yeah. So here, I'll just be super candid with you guys.
Yeah.
I love the question. And I'll be totally transparent with you guys. Deborah knows this. Dave knows this. Some of you who've been on the platform for a while know this. I ended up with debilitating anxiety in 2022. Like, couldn't drive a car, couldn't run. I thought I was in big, big trouble. And I won't get into that because I want to stay in the lane. But let's just say I had to play offense for obvious reasons. I don't mean in a funny way. I'm not laughing. I'm saying like, whoa, it was really dark. By the way, the darker the places you've been to, the more you enjoy the sunshine when it comes out. Though the nerdy statement, but I believe it, right? If you've been in dark places, all of a sudden you come out. What do you think you're going to be like the next 6 to 12 months? You go on vacation, you just give them the debit card. Here you go. Or run the deposit, whatever. Okay, honey, book the thing. You're going to be psyched. You're like, oh my gosh, we made it, right? So the darker the places you've been to, I bring that up because part of how I got through this debilitating anxiety is I played offense. I started meditating. I did my 402nd day in a row this morning. Started meditating in Q4 of 20, what's the math, you guys, 22. And then I got an anxiety coach. I started doing therapy. I bring the therapy up because my coach said to me, what Deborah just said, he said to me, do you think your negative voice is always the negative voice? Or do you think it's sometimes the concerned voice? What does that mean? I was like, no, it's negative. It's like, is it concern because you're 50 and you're going to rip a 10-mile run to try to turn your anxiety? Or is it concern kind of looking out for what you need? You're the resident expert, each of you, as am I, as is Dave, as is Deborah. We're our own resident expert on really what we need. So Deborah's brilliant question is, a lot of times the negative voice is trying to leave us in a disempowered state, talk us down, distract us. Sometimes it's saying, you know what, rockstar mortgage advisor, rockstar mom, you deserve to relax. It's not you're, oh my gosh, I'm being a slacker. If we're doing it 6 days a week, maybe that's a little too much, but that would be my response. That makes sense, Deborah?
Love it. Thank you.
All right. Should we hit it? Now we're 35 minutes.
Let's go. Let's learn about what a pivotal moment is, and let's get everyone creating their don't do list. So let's rock it out.
Awesome. Pivotal moments. I believe there's 8 to 12 major pivotal moments in our lives, and we deserve to be ready for them. And you can't hit a pause button. You can't be like, you know what? I'm not in the right state. I'm going to pause right now. Let me go step over here. You can't build a sword and armor in the middle of a battle. You just have to start fighting. Some of you have learned this the tough way over these last 18 to 24 months. But the reality is we want to be ready for pivotal moments. Not only ready for them, but we have to be at a certain level of clarity as far as the lens through which we observe our lives. We deserve to be at a certain level so that we can see the pivotal moments. Otherwise, they can walk right by you and you don't realize what you're missing out on. Does that make sense, you guys?
Perfect sense. Man, I love just defining. We all have 8 to 12 pivotal moments, and I'm actually going to journal over the weekend. What are some of the pivotal moments I've already had? I'm 59 and I got another 59 to go. So I actually want to figure out what are the pivotal moments in my life, and I'd push everybody to do that. And then I think another thing I'm going to do is just kind of future cast. What are some other pivotal moments that I might have coming? And then of course there's things that you don't know they're coming. They come, and you either make the right move, operate well, or not. So I love that, Jonathan.
Awesome, Dave. So pivotal moments, again, like 8 to 12, but then there's almost like a second tier of pivotal moments that aren't like these monster moments, but they lead to other major pivotal moments. So you also want to be in a receptive state to see these second tier pivotal moments. I'll give you the 60-minute version because you don't have the 15-minute version of a quick story. Dave sends me a text. This is like 4 years ago. Jonathan, you're going to watch Shant's interview on Friday. I text back, I don't know who Shant is. He texts back, Shant is the #1 mortgage professional. Dave's candor. He's the #1 mortgage professional in the US. You should know who he is because you've been serving our industry for 10 years. Okay, thank you for the candor. So then I look him up. I'm like, oh, this guy's a rock star. My negative voice is like, we're not watching the interview thing. We were I was up at the cabins in Vermont. My negative voice is whiny about it. I like to do all my little nerdy projects around the property. Instead, I'm in the cabin. I watch Shant. I'm like, I took 5 pages of notes. I mined the gold. I sent it to all my mortgage clients. I sent Shant a book, which my negative voice was also whining about, and I just plowed through. And then a couple months later, I'm blessed to start coaching Shant Panosian, the GOAT of your industry. That was a pivotal moment. You go, was it a top level? No, it was a lower level, but he's an amazing human being that I've learned so much from. And if I was like, I'm not doing that, or I'm not looking at something Dave said, well, if you have a friend like Dave Savage and he nudges you to do something, you do it. So I'll just leave that as a quick example. Let's go back to the idea of your don't do list, which most people get and like, all right, what are we going to do? We're going to make this the year. Yeah, what we need to do some things. We need to make some changes to make 2024 absolutely remarkable. But the biggest things are, what are we going to stop doing? So do you have the courage? I'm coaching you right now. Do you have the courage to identify your don't do list? And then even more importantly, do you have the courage to act on your don't do list? So I'll share my don't do list. I've shared it with Dave. And I won't go through the whole thing, obviously, for time's sake. Number 1, speaking engagements. I'm only speaking at the Microsoft Leadership Retreat for the 3rd straight year in June. They had already booked me. I decided in early Q4, I'm not going to do any speaking engagements in 2024. Now, I'm not Gary Vee. I'm not like, listen to this, you guys. I'm turning around all these things. I do like 10 to 12 a year. I love it, but it pulls me away from my kids. It's a huge output. Being on stage is easy. It's the eye contact and being a world-class listener around the event. So I'm like, you know what? I'm pulling that out. My second book, 12 Key Habits to Close the Gap, was supposed to come out in May. I'm not writing another word on it until January of 25. I pulled the plug on that. I pulled the plug on my corporate coaching on Zoom. Besides Neo, Ryan Grant, one of my coaching clients, which he's been public with, they had signed up for a year. Besides that, I pulled 7 companies, 7 hours of high output, lot of prep per month. I pulled those things. And then the last one, and there's a story around this, I talked to my team for Breakthrough Health. I'm like, we're not doing what we've done for 19 straight years, which this is really hard, you guys, because there's things we do and we love them and they're productive. So you're like, why would you pull back on that? So normally we spend the first 2 weeks of January firing off all these emails, New Year's resolutions. This is the time, blah, blah, blah. I said to the team, I go, we're going to wait until the end of the month. We'll run a 15-week transformation challenge. We're not doing anything for the first 2 weeks. Okay. So we agreed to that. Fast forward, my amazing wife, Karen, said to me, do you want to go down to the University of Florida in January and we'll visit? It's her cousin Katie's a professor there. And then while we're visiting her, the University of Kentucky basketball team's playing against Florida. So she asked me this like in October or something. I'm like, yeah, it sounds awesome. She's like, I know, but normally those first 2 weeks of January, everything's nuts. I was like, no, we're changing it up this year. We're not doing that. So go ahead and book it. Let's go. That's an important part of the story because that put me in Florida. So we're down in Florida. I stay locked in on my habits. We go to a brewery on Friday. I drank a lemonade. I'm not telling you guys you have to, those are the choices you need to make. But I have these amazing world-class professional and college athletes who I'm telling them no alcohol. So I don't drink alcohol, period. That's my don't do permanent. Reason being is in order to teach it, you got to be it. And I'm not telling you guys to ditch alcohol. You need to stop, whatever. I'm just using it as an example. We hang out at this brewery Saturday morning. I get up, I crush my workout. We go over to meet the players I'm blessed to coach. One guy I've been coaching for 2 years. Second guy, I just started coaching like a week or two before. So we go over and meet the players in the host hotel, right? Huge honor. Kentucky fans travel, the gear on. I'm like, these people are freaking into basketball. Like, I love basketball, but these people are like next level. They're all in the lobby, right? Swarming the players and the coaches. So long story short, Karen and I go out to grab some stuff from the car, and she wanted to change into her University of Florida stuff because she's been a long-term fan. She then didn't want to go back through the host lobby, the host hotel lobby. And this is an important part of the story. And she's like, what happens if we run into the players? I go, no, they're awesome. They're not, I already told them your cousin's a professor. Oh, I don't know. I said, if your negative voice is like really adamant about it, we can walk around. But I feel like this is just your negative voice, and I don't care. I think we should walk through. That's important language, because then my rock star wife goes, okay, we'll walk through. That then puts us in the lobby. Okay. We go walking through the lobby. One of the assistant coaches comes walking. Now you can see how all of this interconnects, because that assistant coach that's come walking towards me, one of the athletes I'm blessed to serve, we had just been talking about him about 4 weeks before, about how he's built this deep relationship with this player I'm blessed to serve. So my negative voice wanted me to just write that in my notes while I was coaching him. Instead, I researched him, which led to me knowing what he looked like, which led to me recognizing him walking towards me in the lobby of the host hotel. Now, just to give you a feel, all the fans are all over the place. They all got this stuff on. The players aren't out yet. It's just the coaches. I turned to Karen. I go, give me 1 minute. I hand her this bag, and I go walking right up to that guy. Now, meanwhile, my negative voice is going, no, we're breaking protocol. Before that could even come out of my negative voice's mouth, I was in front of the dude. And I just reached my hand out, and I said, hey, coach, and I said his name, I'm Jonathan Roche. And he looked at me like I had a second and third head on my shoulders, like, buddy, this is not social hour. Then I said to him, sorry to stop you, but I just wanted to thank you for pouring into, and I said the one athlete's name, and he goes, huh? And I go, I'm his peak performance coach. I'm his mindset coach. He goes, you're kidding me. And I go, no, I'm blessed. I've been serving him for like 2 years. He goes, that explains everything. And then his wall came down and we connected. And I said, yeah, he was like 98% done by the time I got to him. His parents are world class. He's like, I doubt it. And then within about 30 seconds, he goes, I want to connect with you next week about coaching our entire team on mindset. Right? I was like, I just like casual and cool about it. Then he walked away, and I walked up to Karen. I was like, we're good. She's like, who was that? I was like, it's one of the assistant coaches. I have a really fun story I'll tell you in the car. And then we walk out, and I'm like, yes, how cool is that? So I'm like floating over to the game. We go to the game. Let me see. I'm talking to you guys. If we're in good shape, I'll tighten this up at the end here, you guys. We go to the game. I watch my two rock star athletes who I'm blessed to serve bring it in the heat of the battle in their pivotal moments, right? The pivotal moment isn't the moment. The moment has happened well in advance to your habits. Are you ready or not? Do you have your sword? Do you have your armor? Are you going to make the shots? Are you going to make the free throws? What's going on here? Because there's no like, hey guys, I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm going to hit the pause. It's now. They bring it. They win. We're down with the players afterwards. Everything's great, right? We go to walk out. One of the other star players for Kentucky's mom starts talking about how stressed her son is. He's not really enjoying the game. He's super stressed. I know what she's talking about because I've watched him. And I wanted to jump in. I didn't need to jump in because one of the guys I'm blessed to serve's mom jumped in for me. Talk about a referral. Starts telling her about what I've done for her son. That Monday, I follow up, have a conversation with the mom. That night, I coached the athlete for 50 minutes. Now I'm coaching 3 of them. Had the follow-up call with the assistant coach, and now Coach Calipari, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, who are going to make a legitimate run at the national championship, is going to call me in the next week. Then I'm going out to speak to the team. I'm finally going to breathe and open it up for Dave and Deborah, but pivotal moment that you wouldn't even have seen if I hadn't done the research, if I wasn't in an optimized state, if I listened to my negative voice, I missed that whole thing. And now the relationship with the University of Kentucky is going to another whole level.
So guys, yeah, absolutely amazing story, Jonathan. Congratulations. And I just want to remind everybody that story would have never happened if it had not been for Jonathan's what am I not going to do list? And they were bold do not do's. A good friend of mine, Bob Bodine, has a book called The Power of Who. Just an incredible success story. I mean, he's one of the biggest and most powerful people in sports that most people don't know. He's the guy that places some of the biggest athletic directors. He actually did the placement of Deion Sanders at Colorado.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. In my last interview with him, he talks about that. It's in our channel. But his dad was a famous recruiter in business, and Jonathan worked with him for years, and decided, you know what, I love athletics, I love everything about it, and I want to become the biggest recruiter in sports. And today he's placed the commissioner of baseball multiple times, the commissioner of the Olympics. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Like when I went to a Rangers game with him, we went down to the dugout suite, and I met George Bush, and he calls me Big Red now. But all of that happened because Bob created a do not call list, and he created a strategy that fed his heart, something that he was great at. And so just powerful, bro. Deborah, anything you want to comment on or say after hearing that great story and that advice?
Yeah, it just, it reminds me of something that I heard Todd Bookspan share about putting yourself in paths of opportunity. And I just started to think of that incredible story that Jonathan just shared, of how many of you that are listening, can you identify a similar story within yourself that really changed the trajectory of maybe your business? And maybe it was a networking event you didn't want to go to, or you wrote the check and you went to the Modern Mortgage or Real Estate Summit, or something that you put yourself in a position when it may have been tough, but you knew it was the right thing to do. And then it opened up, opportunities that really, or you learned something that really changed, your business. And then the other thing I thought about was how a lot of the people, who are still in the business today, maybe that growth came from the adversity, because something you said earlier was adversity expedites growth. And so maybe that was a pivotal moment of something that you had to learn last year that maybe you were doing that was in response to like COVID years when volume was at peak, season, that you needed to readjust. And just by making those adjustments because of the adversity has now allowed you to really, get the benefits for this year. But it came from doing the work and doing the assessment and making the change. And so what will you do by creating that do not do list? Think of the opportunities that will create in your life to help perhaps keep you motivated and consistent with not doing the things on your list.
Yeah, love it. All great stuff. So guys, we're getting in if this was a football game, we're entering the last 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, and it's been an incredible call, but a lot of games are won and lost in the last 2 minutes of a game, especially nowadays in the NFL. But so put any questions you have. And Jonathan, knowing that we're in these last 5 minutes of the call, how do you want to close it? Like, what is the advice you want to say? Story, if you have a story, how do you want to close it in these last few minutes?
Yeah, I think a couple things I'll share, which is on the pivotal moments, we have to lean in. Don't let your negative voice be like, oh, cool, we're in a pivotal moment. Like, you got to go. Like, I was like, I literally made the decision on the flight. I'm definitely talking to his mom on Monday morning. And my goal is to get on a call with him on Monday before I go to sleep. So I did that. I did a 50-minute call with him at 8 p.m. that Monday night. It wasn't like, oh yeah, cool. Where people get in trouble sometimes, they go, that was pretty cool, Deborah. You met whoever. You got to go. Like, we got to capitalize on this thing. I have a document that I could pull out right now. It says UK number 9 on the top. And you go, what's that? I started in October. If I believe they're going to do it in March or April, actually beginning of April, if the University of Kentucky wins, that will be their 9th national championship. That document is a 2-page overview of how they can dominate their mindset and optimize their habits. So I pulled that up on the plane on the ride, flying out of Florida, tightened it up, got to the key talking points, got them ready for the assistant coach, put them in the folder. It was all locked in. I kid you not. He called me. I walked over to my closet. I saw his name on the phone. I pulled up my folder. I got to my 4 key talking points, and I just executed on the plan. The victory had been won far in advance of that discussion. So I'll just leave you on that. Second thing, what is the opportunity costs of your yeses? What are your yeses costing you in time, energy, focus, and follow through? Because there's only so much. And then the last thing I'll mention, hoping to be on with you guys in the next couple of months. I don't mean this like my parting, see you later, good luck, you guys. But here's the deal. You've been in the evolving market Ironman. It has not been fun. It's been tough. But I'll finish with this. You are 1,000,000% going to make it. I've done 12 Ironman. I've done 28 Boston Marathons. You get to this point where you just catch them beating mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You negatively say, why do we do this? And what I say to myself, and I've said it at every one of these events, I'm going to say it for the rest of my time on this planet, which is, unless a truck runs through one of these side roads and runs me over, I'm finishing. It's a decision point. Like negative voice, you can say whatever you want. I'm going to that banner. As your peak performance coach today, there's no way you are not going to finish this thing. If you were going to quit, you already quit. You've already got through the swim, the bike, the run. You might be at mile 25. You maybe just got sick. Your stomach's going nuts. Your feet are killing you. Whatever. Here's my parting suggestion as your peak performance coach today. What do you need? What do you need? It's such a simple question. What do you need? You need water. Do you need to call your friend from college who's the most positive person on the planet and have her or him pour into you? Do you need a motivation video? Do you need a walk on the beach? Do you need a conversation with your mom? What do you need to elevate? Because we're human beings. We have needs. And if we're intelligent enough to listen to our needs and act upon our needs, 1,000,000%, boom, gonna get to that banner.
I mean, I think we could end, I wrote down, circled, highlighted, what are your yeses costing you? I think I'm going to put that on a sticky note and make that my daily visual of the opportunity cost of your yes.
Boom, boom. So a couple things I'd love as we wrap this up, give reactions as to what you thought of the overall call. Every time, whether it's the Tuesday 10X call, which next week will be Wally Elderberry, the goal is to put on the best sales meeting in the mortgage industry for the week. And I think we did it, Jonathan. So thank you for putting on such a great hour of leadership for everyone. I would love, as people leave, if there was one thing that you got from this, what was the one, in this last minute or two, what was the one thing that really you're going to remember and you're going to take action on? I loved the words you put together called outvalue your competition. I don't think I've ever heard. I mean, that concept is something that's not new to me, but that little magical combination of 4 words, outvalue your competition. Haven't heard that. I'm going to use that. I saw you, Deborah, put a call out on that. Guys, that's what it's all about. Outvaluing your competition and being the most high impact, high valuable person you can be to realtors and to folks that are looking to buy houses or folks that are looking to optimize the value, how they can build wealth with real estate and achieve financial wealth. So let's see. Greg said, measure efforts always first. The results will follow. Amen to that. Well, guys, we're at the top of the hour. So Jonathan, I can't thank you enough for how active you are in this community. Thank you for all the posts of positivity and inspiration you put in our group. You're one of the top leaders and contributors. I'm grateful for you. Deborah, is there any taking action notes, any, kind of spirit of Todd win by noon notes you want to close with?
Well, the one thing that I'm going to implement right away is the peak game score. So you either get a 1 or a 0. You've made it very easy. I'm going to keep track of that in my win by noon planner just to kind of see how I'm doing while focusing on progress. And then also just for me personally, it's more of I hate to lose more than I love to win. And so that's a motivator to kind of like you said, like, unless I get hit by a bus, that's what's going to keep. And so my passion to just constantly improve and that hunger for improvement while knowing I've never mastered it. I never have it all figured out. Sometimes people will message me and they're like, gosh, it seems like you have it all put together. You're a mom of four. I'm like, dude, it's a shit show. It's at some states. So learning a little bit about your adversity in 2022 just again gives me more motivation and belief in myself that even someone who's a peak performance coach who had to reach out to others and, you know, maybe had a little bit of a divot that then helped you go higher makes me feel better about the path that I'm on. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. And I'll mention one more thing at the end, guys. You can go to peaklockin.com, and I have my online coaching program. We're doing a 15-week challenge that starts on Monday. So if you want to be guided on this 15-week journey, you can go to peaklockin.com, click on coaching. Then it says like online coaching. Zero pressure either way, but I'd love that opportunity to serve you. What Deborah said is profound. Deborah, you are amazing. And Dave, you are amazing. This is an absolute blessing to serve your community. I love every second of our time together.
No, I love you, bro. Make sure you click on that, guys. Make sure you follow this guy on social media if you don't already. Go to peaklockin.com. That's what it looks like, guys. And attend the next event. Where do they click here, Jonathan?
On the coaching, if you click on coaching and then it says like
click
online.
on coaching, and then right there, online. So guys,
Yep.
coaching, online coaching, check it out, put in your information. By the way, look at that. There's some, you know, leadership right there, just notes, things to read. And click right here. Is this what
Correct. The Peak 365 Plus is for the challenge.
all right,
For
cool,
the
man.
15-week challenge. Yeah, awesome.
All right, take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go 49ers, and
Go Lions.
take care. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.